Hi, I'm Yuan of J Artworks, and in this video I'll be making a little bit of a drawing tutorial for you guys. We're going to check out pencil pressure, how to hold your pencil, and why it matters, especially when you're sketching. I'm going to make a simple demonstration of how I would go about drawing a crystal ball. You know, the kind that you would see maybe an evil wizard in a fantasy story spy on his enemies through. That's right. We'll check it out together. Come along. Okay, let's have a look at this then. I'm going to start off by mentioning a little thing about my glove. As you see, I have a glove on my left hand. And it's because since I'm left-handed, what ends up happening is that I will smudge my hand against the drawing many times, and then you end up having to use this eraser to get it off, and it's a bit annoying. So if you're left-handed like me, I recommend you get one of these if you're gonna be shading a lot, using a lot of graphite pencils like this one. Makes your life a bit easier. I just took a finger glove that I had that I didn't care so much about, and I just cut off these 3 fingers here. They sell them you know, already kind of done like this, but I didn't want to spend any money, so yeah, you can do it like that. Little mention about this pencil I'm using. This is an HB pencil, very common graphite pencil. You will most probably have run into this in school. It's the most standard. The H stands for hard, and the B stands for black, so it's hard black basically. I am going to be drawing on a copy paper. They mostly used for printing documents and so on. It's okay for sketching. But if you wanted to make a more serious drawing, propose that you would use some drawing paper instead. That's a bit thicker. This is quite thin, and you can, if you push a little bit too hard, which you shouldn't do though, but if you do, it might tear a hole through the thing. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first thing I think that you should be thinking about is that you don't push too hard. I'm going to be making a circle now, and as we all know, when we try to make a circle, unless we have some help, it is not going to look perfect right away. So my philosophy with this is that when you're sketching, you take the time you need, and I think going into it with the mentality that, you know, you're going to get there eventually is a good one to have. So you're basically gently hovering over the paper, and you just kind of go around and around, and then you eventually end up finding the line that or the lines that you want to keep. But like, don't be in a rush with it. Let it take its time. Now, of course, you could, if you want a really perfect circle, you could take something like this decorative candle holder here, and you could just make just draw along it like so. But the point of this video is not how to make a perfect circle. It's simply about what importance pencil pressure has when you're drawing. So like I said, don't push too hard. You see, since I didn't push too hard when I made this circle, now I can get rid of it and not have any issues while doing so. Okay, so I have something that's starting to look all right here. what you can do is you can do some measurements. You can make a little dot in the middle. You can measure with your fingers, like is it the same from the middle to this to the bottom as it is from the middle to the top here. And I think no, it's not quite. This one should go up a bit more. You could of course measure to the left and to the right and all over the place. But I think I'm not going to be quite that obsessed today. If I was doing this for some client or something, I think that I would take some help from a digital tool, since I mostly work digitally. But if they specifically ask me to make a drawing, then I would probably maybe use that decorative candle holder or something, because I get a bit crazy if I think that something is slightly off, even if people don't care so much. Oh well. So this here is it's like the foot of the crystal ball, and I think of it as like a cylinder. Like if we imagine that there was no crystal ball, we would have an object underneath that would look something along these lines here. It's almost like a food bowl for a dog or something. Yeah, like a cone that you just cut off here. And what I do is, like, I imagine that this thing, like if I could see the crystal ball, then I would see the top of the foot. So I imagine this behind the crystal ball while I'm drawing, but I don't want it visible, because I don't want the crystal ball to be that transparent. So we are getting rid of that. And you see, now that we haven't been pushing so hard, we can get rid of like these lines that we are not so happy about, like that dot I just made there, or the line showing the foot, the outline. So we just go along with the lines that seem to be the keepers, and we push a little bit harder. But again, like, you don't have to push so hard. If you are particularly into drawing and shading, I think that you should get how to say, like a more black pencil to make darker shades. I have some of them myself, but for this video I just wanted to show what you can do with just like one pencil, like this HB pencil here, because it's a pencil that most people have laying around at home, and so it's a way to kind of work with what most people have. Yeah, something like that, huh? I'm gonna get rid of this example here, because it was just for me to illustrate how that shape looks by itself. But what I'm not illustrating something by itself. I'm illustrating a combination between the crystal ball and the foot of the crystal ball. So we're starting to get something that's looking pretty nice. I'm liking that. So I'm just gently dragging the eraser over the sketch lines, and I have decided that they are sketch lines because they're the ones I don't want to keep. And the lines where I press harder, that's going to be my actual line art. But if you want, you can let the sketch lines remain and just have like a sketchy style. You know, some people like to do that. But for this example here, I want a bit of a cleaner look. So we're going to get rid of that. All right, this is not going to be a shading video, but I'm going to show you just briefly how I approach shading for a situation like this. So I like to start out with just an arrow. Have an arrow pointing down there, and you could have it like that. You could have a light source that just goes so, like hard against the edge of the crystal ball, but I'm actually gonna go ahead and make it a bit of a more frontal light source. Gonna show you what I mean. So you see how I'm kind of making that three-dimensional? That indicates that this is coming a bit from the front. So it's from above, a little bit to the right, and a little bit to from the front as well. So that's a good reminder if we forget where the light was supposed to come from. So typical for like crystal balls, I imagine is usually like this reflection here. That makes me think of a glassy surface. And we're going to shade a little bit here. And now, since we didn't press so hard before, like imagine if there was some lines that I drew here before, then if I had erased them and I had pushed very hard while I was drawing, now they would still be showing. Now I haven't made any line there, but if I had and it had been pressing, then we kind of have a problem, you know? So, like I said, this is not a shading video, but I just want to give you a little brief insight into how I approach that. It will be a good topic for another video actually. But yeah, something like this. And just to make a contrast between the foot and the crystal ball, we can make the foot a little bit more dark. So yeah. I could sit and work on this forever, but I want to sum it up there and start to round off the video. Basically what I want you to get from this is hold your pencil gently, like don't be pushing, don't be doing this thing that children do with crayons where they have like a clenched fist and then they just push down. That will just, you know, ruin your paper and it will show through when you are shading. This here, doing it this way, it's just going to give you way less of a headache, and I think it's the way to go. And it took me a long time before I, you know, actually employed this properly. I wanted to get to the details right away, you know, and yeah, you ended up with something that was like a very polished turd, basically, because I would spend a lot of time on details, and then you realize that it just looked messed up because I wasn't taking a step back and looking at, oh, did I get the basics right? So if I started shading this thing here, but I didn't take the time to get the ground shapes right, I mean, this would just be like an abomination. So hope you got something from this, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much.